The great crystal halls of Vexitera sparkled with light from 12 different suns. Alien beings from across the galaxy sat around a massive table made of pure energy. Their voices mixed together as translation devices turned their words into sounds others could understand. Today they talked about a new world they had found, a small blue planet called Earth. Commander Zixara stood tall at the center of the room. Her silver skin glowed with patterns of light that showed her feelings. She was from the Velthari Empire, one of the oldest and strongest groups in the galaxy. Her people had been watching space for over 1,000 years. To them, most other races were like children playing with toys. "These humans are very simple," Zixara said, her voice cool and sure. "Our ships have watched them for many years. They can barely leave their own world. Their fastest ships still burn chemicals to move through space. They fight each other with metal bullets and small bombs." Around the table, other aliens nodded their heads. The Kreeth looked like giant insects with sharp claws and multiple eyes. Their Queen Commander Hasvek clicked her mandibles in agreement. The Nethmal were beings made of gas who floated in special containers. Even they seemed to agree that humans were not worth much attention. "Their technology is at least 300 years behind ours," continued another council member. "They have not even learned to bend space for faster travel. They do not know how to use pure energy as a weapon. Most of their people do not even know that life exists beyond their small world." The aquatic Sirnathi representative spoke through bubbles in her water tank. "Perhaps they could serve as workers for mining operations. Their hands seem useful for simple tasks." Far below the surface of Earth, in a place hidden deep under the mountains of Colorado, Captain Lisa Morgan sat in a room filled with screens and blinking lights. She was 35 years old, with short brown hair and eyes that missed nothing. Around her, dozens of people worked at computers and communication devices. They could hear every word the alien said. Lisa turned to the woman beside her. Major Kate Sullivan had been her friend since military school. Kate had red hair and a quick mind that could solve problems faster than most computers. "They think we are stupid," Kate said quietly, shaking her head. "Good," Lisa replied. "Let them think that. The longer they believe we are weak, the more time we have to get ready." On the screens around them, images showed the real truth about Earth. Deep underground, massive factories built ships that could travel between stars. Hidden bases on the dark side of the moon held weapons that could destroy asteroids. Secret laboratories had spent 50 years studying every piece of alien technology that had ever crashed on Earth. The aliens thought they were watching Earth through their advanced sensors. They did not know that humans had been guiding what they could. See? Every time an alien probe tried to scan Earth's military bases, it only found old buildings and simple weapons. The real weapons stayed hidden behind shields that the aliens could not detect. President Helen Carter sat in a secure room under the White House. She was 52 years old and had been preparing for this day since she first learned about the alien watchers 10 years ago. Next to her sat Dr. Amy Bennett, a scientist who had spent her whole career studying alien life forms that most people did not even know existed. "How long before they make contact?" President Carter asked. Dr. Bennett looked at her notes. "Our computers predict they will send a ship within 6 months. The Velthari always move slowly. They like to study their targets before they act. And they will expect us to bow down and accept whatever they offer," the president said. "Yes. Their pattern is always the same. They approach primitive worlds and offer protection in exchange for resources and labor. Most species accept because they have no choice." President Carter smiled. They are going to be very surprised. Back on Vextera, the Galactic Council continued their discussion. Commander Zixara pulled up images of Earth's cities and military bases. The aliens saw humans in simple uniforms carrying basic weapons. They saw aircraft that moved slowly through the sky using old engines. They saw ships in Earth's oceans that looked like floating metal boxes. "We should approach them soon," suggested the Kreeth Queen Commander. "If we wait too long, they might develop better weapons." Zixara laughed, a sound like crystal bells ringing. "These creatures will need centuries to become a real threat. Look at their progress. In the past 50 years, they have barely improved their basic technology. They still burn fossil fuels for energy. They still use metal and plastic. for most of their construction. What the aliens did not see were the fusion reactors hidden deep underground. They could not detect the materials that were stronger than anything in their own ships. Their sensors missed the gravity manipulation systems and the quantum computers that could think faster than any alien mind. Admiral Rebecca Hayes stood in a control room on a space station that looked like a simple research facility. She was 48 years old and had spent 20 years building Earth's secret space fleet. Around her, the walls were covered with screens showing the positions of ships throughout the solar system. "How many vessels do we have in position?" she asked her second-in-command. 47 combat ships, all hidden behind stealth systems. Another 120 support vessels spread across the asteroid belt and outer planets. "The aliens have no idea we are here," Rebecca smiled. "Perfect. When they finally decide to visit, we will be ready to show them exactly what humans can do." The Galactic Council finished their meeting with a simple decision. Earth would be contacted within the year. The Velthari Empire would send a small diplomatic ship to begin negotiations. They expected the humans to be grateful for the attention from such an advanced civilization. As the aliens returned to their ships and departed Vexitera, none of them realized they had just made the biggest mistake in galactic history. They thought they were dealing with a primitive species that would gladly accept alien rule. Instead, they were about to meet a race that had been preparing for this moment for decades, and humans were very good at surprises. 3 months passed after the Galactic Council meeting. Ambassador Lysena received her orders from the Velthari High Command. She would travel to the human world and make first contact. The mission seemed simple enough. Talk to the primitive. Humans offer them protection and bring them into the Empire as a client species. Lysena was different from most of her people. While other Velthari barely bothered to learn about the species they conquered, she actually studied human culture. Her silver skin flickered with curious patterns as she read about human art, music, and literature. She found their creativity surprising for such a young race. "Sister," Commander Zixara said as she visited Lysena's ship before departure, "do not waste too much time trying to understand these creatures. They are simply another primitive species that needs our guidance." "Perhaps," Lysena replied, "but their cultural development seems remarkably advanced for their technological level. Their music shows mathematical complexity that rivals our own classical compositions." Zixara laughed. "Pretty sounds will not help them when hostile forces attack their world. Only our protection can keep them safe." The diplomatic vessel Starweaver left Velthari space and began the journey to Earth. The ship was beautiful rather than powerful, designed to impress primitive species with its elegant curves and glowing hull. It carried only basic weapons and shields, suitable for dealing with any resistance that Stone Age civilizations might offer. On Earth, President Helen Carter stood in the newly built Olympus Station. The space station orbited high above the planet, its white walls and gleaming windows making it look like a palace among the stars. To the approaching aliens, it would seem like humanity's greatest achievement. They would never guess that it had been built in just 6 months, using technology that made their own construction methods look ancient. "Are we ready for our visitors?" President Carter asked Secretary of State Maria Rodriguez. Maria nodded. She was a calm woman with dark hair who had spent years preparing for this moment. "Our teams have practiced the first contact protocols hundreds of times. We know exactly what to say and how to act." Dr. Amy Bennett stood nearby, checking her equipment one final time. She would be humanity's primary representative for the scientific and cultural exchanges. At 32, she was young for such an important role, but she knew more about alien biology than anyone else on Earth. "Remember," Dr. Bennett said to the team, "we need to appear curious but not too advanced. We want them to think we are smart, enough to be useful but not smart enough to be threatening." The Starweaver arrived at the edge of Earth's solar system and sent a formal greeting message. The translation was perfect, suggesting that the Velthari had been studying human languages for some time. "Greetings, people of Earth. We are the Velthari Empire, representatives of the Galactic Council. We come in peace to offer friendship and protection to your young civilization." President Carter smiled as she recorded her response. "Welcome to our solar system, Ambassador Lysena. We are honored by your visit and eager to learn about our place in the galaxy." The meeting took place in Olympus Station's main conference room. The chamber had been designed to impress aliens while hiding humanity's true capabilities. Comfortable chairs surrounded a simple wooden table. Earth plants grew in decorative pots along the walls. Everything looked peaceful and slightly primitive. Ambassador. Lysena entered the room with grace. She was tall and elegant, her silver skin shimmering with patterns of greeting and respect. Her large eyes studied the humans with genuine curiosity. Behind her came two advisors and a small security detail carrying what appeared to be basic energy weapons. President Carter, Lysena said, her voice musical even through the translation device. Thank you for welcoming us. Your species has caught the attention of the Galactic Council, and we are here to discuss your future among the stars. The negotiations began with cultural exchanges. Dr. Bennett presented examples of human art, music, and literature. She was careful to choose pieces that showed creativity and intelligence without revealing too much about human technology or military thinking. Lysena seemed genuinely impressed by Bach's mathematical precision and Leonardo's artistic vision. Your people have remarkable creative abilities, she admitted. This level of artistic development usually takes much longer to achieve. We have always been curious about the world around us, Dr. Bennett replied. Perhaps that curiosity will help us learn from more advanced civilizations like yours. Secretary Rodriguez handled the political discussions. She listened carefully as Lysena explained the Standard Protection Agreement. The terms were exactly what Earth's intelligence services had predicted. The Velthari would protect Earth from hostile aliens in exchange for mining rights, trade privileges, and the right to establish bases on human worlds. These terms are quite generous, Lysena said, not realizing how condescending she sounded. Most primitive species receive far less favorable treatment when they join the galactic community. President Carter maintained her diplomatic smile. We appreciate the offer, Ambassador. However, such an important decision requires careful consideration. We would need at least 3 weeks to discuss this with our global leadership. Lysena seemed surprised by the request, but agreed. Most primitive species either accepted immediately or were conquered if they refused. The idea that humans might actually have a choice in the matter was amusing to her. Of course, President Carter. We will wait in your outer solar system while you deliberate. Take all the time you need. As soon as the Velthari delegation left Olympus Station, President Carter activated secure communication channels to every hidden military base on Earth and throughout the solar system. Operation Aurora is now active, she announced. All assets move to final positions. If these negotiations fail, we need to be ready to defend ourselves. Admiral Rebecca Hayes received the message on her flagship hidden behind one of Saturn's moons. The vessel looked like a research station from the outside, but inside it bristled with weapons and defensive systems that would surprise any attacking force. All ships report ready status, she told her staff. The waiting is almost over. Back on the Starweaver, Ambassador Lysena reviewed her reports about the meeting. The humans had been polite and seemed intelligent, but they still appeared to be a primitive species that would benefit from Velthari guidance. They accepted our offer quite readily, she transmitted to her sister on the homeworld. The humans seem to understand that they need our protection. I expect they will sign the agreement within the week, Commander Zixara responded quickly. Excellent. Another world joins our empire. Soon, we will have mining operations throughout their system. Neither alien realized that they were being monitored by sensors they could not detect. Every word they spoke was recorded and analyzed by Earth's intelligence services. The humans knew exactly what the Velthari expected, and they were preparing to give them something very different. Captain Lisa Morgan stood in her control room deep under the Colorado mountains. Around her, screens showed the positions of every ship in the solar system, both human and alien. How long until all our assets are in position? She asked Major Kate Sullivan. 12 hours for the last stealth fighters to reach their patrol zones. 18 hours for the heavy weapons platforms to complete their deployment. Lisa nodded. Good. When the aliens realize that we are not going to accept their protection agreement, they will need to see exactly what Earth brings to a fight. The 3-week waiting period had begun, but both sides were preparing for very different outcomes. The Velthari expected grateful submission from a primitive species. The humans were getting ready to show the galaxy that Earth was not as defenseless as it appeared. 2 weeks into the waiting period, space near Jupiter suddenly filled with danger. 12 dark ships dropped out of hyperspace like hungry wolves surrounding their prey. The vessels belonged to the Kreeth swarm, and they had not come to talk. Queen Commander. HFY stood on the bridge of her flagship, her 4 arms clicking with excitement. Her insect eyes focused on the elegant Velthari diplomatic ship floating helplessly in space. The Star Weaver had been built for beauty and comfort, not for fighting wars. Perfect, HFY clicked in her native language. We capture their ship, steal their technology, and prove that the Kreeth deserve a higher position in the Galactic Council. The attack began without warning. Green energy beams lashed out from the Kreeth hunter-killers, striking the Star Weaver's shields with devastating force. Ambassador Lysena stumbled as her ship shook from the impacts. "Damage report," she called, to her bridge crew. "Shields down to 60% and falling rapidly," her weapons officer replied. "Our defensive systems were not designed for this level of attack." The Star Weaver tried to fight back, but its light weapons barely scratched the Kreeth armor. The diplomatic vessel had been built to impress primitive species, not to survive against military hunters who lived for battle. Another wave of energy beams struck the ship. Explosions echoed through the corridors as systems overloaded and failed. Lysena realized with growing horror that her ship would not survive much longer. "Send a distress signal to the Velthari fleet," she ordered. "The nearest battle group is 3 days away," her communications officer reported. "We do not have 3 hours." Lysena stared at the tactical display showing the Kreeth ships closing in for the kill. Then she noticed other contacts on the screen. Human vessels were moving through the solar system, but they were small and appeared to be unarmed civilian craft. "Open a channel to the human ships," she said, her pride warring with desperation. "Ambassador," her advisor protested, "they are primitives. What could they possibly do against Kreeth hunters?" Another explosion rocked the ship, and more systems failed. Lysena made her choice. "Human vessels. This is Ambassador Lysena of the Velthari Empire. We are under attack by hostile forces. We request any assistance you might be able to provide." The words tasted bitter in her mouth. A representative of a 1,000-year-old empire was asking primitives for military help, but death tasted even more bitter than damaged pride. Deep under the Colorado mountains, Captain Lisa Morgan received the distress call and smiled grimly. She had been waiting for this moment her entire career. "Patch me through to President Carter," she ordered. The president's voice came through the secure channel immediately. "Captain Morgan, you have authorization for Operation Aurora. Show them what Earth really brings to a fight." Lisa activated emergency communication frequencies that reached hidden bases across the solar system. "All Aurora assets, this is Control. We are weapons-free. I repeat, we are weapons-free." The response was immediate. Ships that had been pretending to be research vessels suddenly revealed their true nature. Stealth systems deactivated, and weapons that had been hidden behind false hull panels extended into firing position. Commander Sarah Brooks sat in the cockpit of Wolf 1, her experimental stealth fighter. The ship looked nothing like the primitive aircraft the aliens had observed. Its hull curved in impossible angles that bent light and sensor beams around it. The engines used gravity manipulation technology that made chemical rockets look like children's toys. "Wolf Squadron, form up on me," Sarah commanded. "Let's introduce our new friends to Earth engineering." Her fighter accelerated toward the battle zone at speeds that should have been impossible for such a small craft. Behind her, 11 more stealth fighters followed, their forms barely visible even to human sensors. Captain Nina Foster commanded the UES Constitution, Earth's most advanced battleship. For months, the massive vessel had been disguised as a deep space research station. Now its true form emerged as weapons systems activated and armor plating extended. The Constitution was over 1 kilometer long and bristled with weapons that combined human innovation with technology reverse-engineered from crashed alien probes. Its hull was made from materials that were stronger and lighter than anything the Galactic Council had ever seen. "All stations report ready for combat," Nina announced to her crew. "Time to show these insects what happens when they threaten our neighbors." The Kreeth were so focused on destroying the Velthari ship that they did not notice the humans approaching until it was too late. Queen Commander HFY was preparing to order the final attack when her sensors officer made a startling announcement. Queen Commander, we are detecting incoming human ships, but these readings cannot be correct. What do you mean? HFY demanded. The energy signatures suggest advanced gravity manipulation drives and quantum-coherent weapons systems. That is impossible for such a primitive species. HFY looked at her tactical display and saw the human fighters approaching at impossible speeds. Destroy them quickly, then return to the primary target. The first Kreeth hunter opened fire on Sarah's fighter, expecting to vaporize the primitive craft with a single shot. Instead, the energy beam passed harmlessly through empty space, as Wolf 1 twisted through dimensions that the insect minds could not comprehend. Sarah's return shot was a coherent beam of pure energy that sliced through the Kreeth ship's armor like a hot knife through butter. The hunter-killer exploded in a brilliant flash that lit up the space around Jupiter. That's one down, Sarah reported calmly. 11 to go. The other wolf fighters spread out and began their attack runs. The Kreeth found themselves fighting enemies that moved like ghosts and struck like lightning. Their weapons could not lock onto targets that phased in and out of normal space, while human energy beams penetrated their shields as if they did not exist. Queen Commander HFY watched in horror as 3 more of her ships died in the first minute of combat. How is this possible? Intelligence reported chemical rockets and metal projectiles. The Constitution arrived at the battle zone like an avenging angel. Captain Foster ordered the deployment of quantum torpedoes, weapons that existed in multiple dimensions simultaneously. The torpedoes phased through Kreeth shields and armor before exploding inside the enemy ships. Target destroyed, her weapons officer reported, as another hunter-killer vanished in a ball of plasma. General Claire Thompson monitored the battle from Earth's primary military satellite. Around her, screens showed additional assets coming online throughout the solar system. The lunar defense grid activated, revealing massive railgun installations that had been hidden beneath the moon's surface for over a decade. Lunar Command, you are cleared to engage, she transmitted. The moon's hidden weapons opened fire, sending streams of hypervelocity projectiles across millions of kilometers of space. The projectiles struck Kreeth ships with the force of small asteroids, crushing armor and shattering hulls. Ambassador Lysena watched the battle from her damaged bridge, her mind struggling to understand what she was seeing. The primitive humans were not just fighting the Kreeth, they were systematically destroying them with technology that rivaled anything in the galaxy. Sister, she transmitted on the emergency Velthari frequency, we have made a terrible mistake. These humans are not primitive. Their military technology equals or exceeds our own. Commander Zixara's response crackled with disbelief. That is impossible. Our sensors showed chemical rockets and nuclear weapons. Our sensors were wrong, Lysena replied as she watched another Kreeth ship die under human fire. These creatures have been hiding their true capabilities from us. The battle reached its climax when Colonel Anna Price received authorization to deploy humanity's most secret weapon. Her orbital fortress, New Horizon, had been disguised as a simple space station, but it contained technology that even the humans did not fully understand. The weapon was based on principles discovered in ancient ruins found in deep space, technology left behind by a civilization that had vanished millions of years ago. It generated a focused gravitational pulse that could erase matter from existence. Firing Omega weapon, Anna announced. An invisible wave of twisted space-time reached out from the hidden fortress and touched the remaining Kreeth ships. They simply disappeared, not destroyed, but completely removed from reality, as if they had never existed. The space around Jupiter fell silent. 12 advanced alien warships had been eliminated in less than an hour by forces the Galactic Council believed were centuries behind Galactic Standard technology. Queen Commander HFY's final transmission echoed across the communication frequencies. Impossible! How did primitives develop such weapons? How did they hide such power? But there was no one left to answer her questions. The Kreeth threat had been eliminated, and humanity had revealed its true strength to the galaxy. News of the battle near Jupiter spread through the galaxy faster than light itself. Quantum communication networks carried the impossible story to every corner of known space. The Kreeth swarm, feared throughout the galaxy for their military might, had been completely destroyed by a species the Galactic Council considered primitive. Commander Zixara stood in the emergency session of the Galactic Council, her silver skin flickering with patterns of confusion and concern. Around the crystalline chamber, representatives from 12 civilizations struggled to understand the reports flooding in from their intelligence networks. The surviving Kreeth escape pods tell an impossible story, Zixara reported to the assembly. They speak of human ships that move through folded space and weapons that ignore all known defensive systems. The Nethmal representative floated in his containment field, his gaseous form swirling with agitation. Our deep space sensors detected gravitational distortions consistent with Omega-class weaponry. Such technology should not exist outside the core worlds. Queen Commander Hasvek's replacement, a younger Kreeth warrior named Vrextal, clicked his mandibles angrily. The humans use some kind of dimensional phase technology. Our weapons could not target their fighters. Our shields meant nothing against their energy beams. Back on Earth, President Helen Carter sat in the Situation Room with her top military advisors. The hidden war had lasted less than 2 hours, but its implications would reshape galactic politics for generations. Assessment report, she requested from Admiral Rebecca Hayes. Admiral Hayes consulted her datapad. 0 human casualties. All stealth systems performed perfectly. The enemy never detected our main battle fleet or the lunar installations. From their perspective, we eliminated 12 advanced warships using only a fraction of our actual capabilities. General Claire Thompson added her analysis. Our communication intercepts show complete confusion throughout the Galactic Council. They are trying to reconcile their intelligence reports with what actually happened. Dr. Amy Bennett had spent the past day analyzing the Velthari ship's sensor recordings. Ambassador Lysena's vessel detected energy signatures and technological principles she cannot identify. Her reports describe our weapons as beyond current galactic understanding. President Carter smiled. Perfect. Let them wonder exactly how advanced we really are. The Starweaver limped back toward Velthari space, its hull scarred from the brief battle. Ambassador Lysena sat in her private quarters, composing what might be the most important report in her empire's history. The humans possess military technology that challenges everything we believed about their development timeline, she wrote. Their fighters employ gravitational manipulation systems more advanced than our own. Their capital ships mount weapons that phase through matter before detonating. Most disturbing of all, they demonstrated the ability to completely erase objects from existence using principles we do not understand. Her communications officer interrupted her writing. Ambassador, we are receiving priority transmissions from the homeworld. The High Command demands immediate clarification of your preliminary reports. Lysena sighed. Her people prided themselves on their ancient knowledge and technological superiority. Admitting that a primitive species possessed more advanced weapons would shake the foundation of Velthari society. Tell them I will provide a full briefing upon my return, and recommend that all expansion plans for the Sol system be immediately suspended. On Earth, the hidden bases that had operated in secret for decades finally revealed their true purpose. Dr. Bennett led a team of scientists through the underground complex beneath the Rocky Mountains, showing President Carter the facilities that had made humanity's victory possible. This is Research Lab Alpha, Dr. Bennett explained as they walked through corridors lined with advanced equipment. We have been studying alien technology for over 50 years, ever since the first crash recovery in 1975. The president stopped before a display case containing fragments of crystalline metal that seemed to shift and flow like liquid. Is this from the Velthari probe that malfunctioned near Mars? Correct. We learned how to synthesize this material and incorporate it into our ship hulls. It provides structural strength while remaining virtually weightless. They continued to another section where teams of engineers worked on sleek fighter designs. The Wolf series fighters use gravity manipulation drives based on technology we recovered from a derelict Nethmal scout ship. We improved the basic concept by incorporating quantum processing systems. Captain Sarah Brooks stood nearby, still wearing her flight suit from the recent battle. The phase-shifting capability came from studying wreckage of a ship that belonged to a species we have never identified. The vessel was found drifting in the asteroid belt with no life signs. President Carter examined the technical displays with growing amazement. How many species have contributed technology to our development? At least 7 that we know of, Dr. Bennett replied. Every crashed probe, every malfunctioning scout ship, Every piece of debris has been carefully analyzed and reverse engineered. We have spent decades learning from the galaxy's mistakes. The tour continued to the weapons development section, where Colonel Anna Price explained the most classified projects. The Omega weapon system is based on principles we discovered in Ruins on Europa. The technology predates any current galactic civilization by millions of years. Who built it originally? The president asked. Unknown. The builders left no records, only functional technology that we have barely begun to understand. What we do know is that it manipulates the fundamental structure of space-time itself. Meanwhile, in a secure facility on the dark side of the moon, Admiral Hayes oversaw the final preparations for humanity's next revelation. The lunar base had been humanity's most closely guarded secret, a massive installation that had been under construction for 20 years. Status report on the Deep Space Fleet, she requested from her staff. Commander Jennifer Torres consulted. Her displays. 47 ships of the line, all fully operational. 200 support vessels spread throughout the outer system. The aliens have no idea how large our actual fleet is. And our manufacturing capabilities? The asteroid belt facilities can produce a new battleship every 6 weeks. The Jupiter orbital yards are completing our first Dreadnought-class vessel. We have enough resources stockpiled to fight a prolonged campaign against any known galactic power. Admiral Hayes nodded with satisfaction. Excellent. When the Galactic Council finally realizes what they are dealing with, we want them to understand that Earth is not just defended, but capable of projecting power throughout the galaxy. Back on Vexterra, the emergency council session continued, as more reports arrived from across the galaxy. The destruction of the Kreeth force had sent shockwaves through every military organization in known space. The Cyrenathi representative spoke from her aquatic tank. Our intelligence networks report unusual human activity throughout their solar system. Ships that our sensors cannot properly identify are moving into new positions. How many ships? Demanded the Velthari delegate. Conservative estimates suggest at least 200 vessels of various classes. However, our sensors may be missing additional units employing stealth technology. The number sent a chill through the assembly. 200 ships was larger than most member fleets. If the humans had been hiding such a force while pretending to be primitive, what else might they be concealing? Commander Zixara received a priority message from her sister's ship. Lysena's full sensor data had arrived, and the technical analysis was staggering. The human energy weapons operate on frequencies we have never encountered, the report stated. Their defensive systems employ multi-dimensional physics that our scientists cannot explain. Most concerning of all, they demonstrated the ability to completely destroy matter at the quantum level. The Galactic Council faced an unprecedented situation. For the first time in recorded history, a species had achieved advanced military technology, while successfully concealing their capabilities from galactic surveillance. The humans had not just defended themselves. They had done so using weapons that surpassed anything in the Council's arsenals. As the session concluded, each representative returned to their ships with the same urgent mission. Report to their home governments that humanity was not the primitive species they had believed. Earth possessed hidden strength that could challenge any power in the galaxy, and they had revealed only a fraction of their true capabilities. The age of human isolation was ending, but not in the way anyone had expected. The emergency session of the Galactic Council had lasted for 3 days. Representatives from across the galaxy struggled to understand how their intelligence networks had failed so completely. A species they had dismissed as primitive had demonstrated military capabilities that exceeded their own. Commander Zixara stood before the assembly one final time, her silver skin dark with patterns of concern and uncertainty. The evidence is undeniable. Earth possesses advanced military technology that our sensors fail to detect. The question now is how we respond to this new reality. The Kreeth replacement delegate, Vrextal, clicked his mandibles aggressively. We should demand explanations. How dare they deceive the Galactic Council? This violation of first contact protocols cannot be tolerated. The elderly Nethmol representative drifted in his containment field, his gaseous form swirling with ancient wisdom. Perhaps we should ask ourselves why they felt the need to hide their capabilities. Our standard approach to primitive species is not exactly welcoming to independent civilizations. Back on Earth, President Helen Carter prepared for the most important speech of her career. The time for deception had ended. Humanity would reveal its true nature to the galaxy and claim its place among the stars as an equal power. The quantum communication array on Olympus Station activated, connecting Earth directly to the Galactic Council chambers. For the first time, humans would address the galaxy's leaders without pretending to be anything other than what they truly were. Honorable representatives of the Galactic Council, President Carter began, her voice calm and confident. I am Helen Carter, President of the United Earth Government. I speak for all of humanity as we formally announce our presence in the galactic community. The assembled aliens watched in silence as the human leader continued. Behind President Carter stood Admiral Rebecca Hayes and General Claire Thompson, their uniforms displaying ranks and decorations that spoke of long military careers. For the past 50 years, humanity has observed your civilizations from a distance. We have studied your technologies, your politics, and your methods of dealing with newly discovered species. What we learned convinced us that hiding our true capabilities was necessary for our survival. Dr. Amy Bennett stepped forward, no longer pretending to be a simple scientist meeting aliens for the first time. Every crashed probe that entered our solar system was carefully analyzed. Every long-range sensor sweep was monitored and guided to show you only what we wanted you to see. We learned from your technology while ensuring you learned nothing meaningful about ours. Commander Zixara's patterns flickered with something that might have been respect mixed with anger. You deliberately deceived us during first contact negotiations. We protected ourselves, President Carter replied firmly. Your standard protection agreements are essentially conquest treaties. Independent species become client states with no real autonomy. We chose a different path. The President gestured to Admiral Hayes, who activated a holographic display showing the true extent of human space capabilities. The aliens gasped as images revealed massive shipyards in the asteroid belt, armed stations throughout the outer planets, and manufacturing facilities that rivaled anything in galactic space. Our industrial capacity exceeds that of most council members, Admiral Hayes reported. We can construct a battleship in 6 weeks and maintain a fleet of over 300 vessels. Our defensive grid extends throughout the solar system and beyond. General Thompson added tactical data that sent chills through the alien representatives. Our weapons technology incorporates principles from 7 different galactic civilizations, enhanced by our own innovations. The recent engagement against the Kreeth demonstrated only a fraction of our actual capabilities. The Sirnathi representative spoke through her translation device, her aquatic voice carrying notes of concern. How many humans are aware of these preparations? Every human government has participated in this project, President Carter answered. Our species made a collective decision to prepare for galactic contact on our own terms. We have been united in this effort for over 2 generations. Ambassador Lysena's image appeared on the communication screen as her ship finally entered transmission range. Her diplomatic vessel bore scars from the recent battle, visible proof of human military effectiveness. I can confirm everything President Carter has said, Lysena reported to the Council. The humans possess technology that equals or exceeds our own. Their tactical capabilities suggest extensive study of galactic military doctrine. They are not the primitive species we believe them to be. The council chamber erupted in discussions as representatives debated how to respond to this unprecedented situation. Some demanded sanctions against Earth for violating first contact protocols. Others argued that humanity had every right to defend itself against galactic expansion policies. President Carter raised her hand for silence. We did not reveal our capabilities to threaten anyone. We seek peaceful coexistence with all galactic civilizations. However, we will not accept subordinate status in any protection agreement. What do you propose? Asked the Nethmal elder. Full membership in the Galactic Council with all rights and responsibilities that status entails. Mutual defense treaties with any civilization that desires them. Open trade and cultural exchange on equal terms. The chamber fell silent as the implications became clear. Humanity was not asking to join the galactic community as a junior partner. They were demanding recognition as an equal power with the military strength to enforce their independence. Commander Zixara's patterns shifted to show calculation and growing acceptance. The Velthari Empire formally withdraws our protection. Offer to Earth. We propose instead a mutual defense treaty between equal partners. The announcement broke the deadlock. One by one, other council members began offering treaties and trade agreements. The Sirnathi wanted access to human manufacturing techniques. The Nethmal desired cultural exchange programs. Even the Kreeth, replacement, acknowledged humanity's right to defend itself. Captain Lisa Morgan stood in her command center beneath the Colorado mountains, watching as decades of careful planning reached fruition. Around her, screens showed human ships throughout the solar system dropping their stealth systems and revealing themselves to galactic sensors. "All units, this is Control," she announced on open channels. "Operation Aurora is complete. Welcome to the galactic community." Major Kate Sullivan smiled as she watched the tactical displays. 47 years of hiding, and we revealed everything in less than a week. "It was worth the wait," Lisa replied. "Look at those treaty offers. We are going from unknown species to major galactic power in a single day." Dr. Bennett concluded Earth's presentation with a demonstration of human cultural achievements. Music, art, literature, and scientific discoveries that rivaled anything the galaxy had produced. The aliens watched in growing amazement as they realized they had underestimated not just human technology, but human creativity and intelligence. "We offer knowledge and friendship to all who approach us with respect," Dr. Bennett said. "But we will defend ourselves against any who mistake peaceful intentions for weakness." The final vote was unanimous. Earth was granted full membership in the Galactic Council with all rights and privileges. Humanity's patient deception and hidden preparations had achieved what many species required millennia to accomplish. As the communication session ended, President Carter looked out at the stars through Olympus Station's windows. Human ships moved, openly through space for the first time, their true forms revealed to galactic observers. The long masquerade was over, but the careful planning and hidden strength it had concealed ensured humanity's place as an equal among the stars. Admiral Hayes received reports from across the solar system as human vessels took their positions in joint patrol missions alongside alien ships. The transition from secret defense to open partnership had begun. "Status report," she requested. "All human vessels have established contact with their assigned galactic partners. The Velthari fleet commander has requested permission to tour our primary shipyard. The Sirnathi want to discuss joint research projects." Admiral Hayes smiled. "Grant all requests. It is time for the galaxy to see exactly what humanity has accomplished." Earth's emergence from the shadows marked the beginning of a new era in galactic politics. Humanity had proven that careful preparation and strategic deception could overcome even the greatest technological disadvantages. The species that had once been dismissed as primitive now stood as equals among the most advanced civilizations in the galaxy. The stars belonged to humanity now, not as subjects or clients, but as partners in the great community of intelligent life that filled the cosmos.